Let's get right into it. Today's explainer takes us into a piece of ancient wisdom that honestly reads less like a dusty list of rules and way more like a high-level diagnostic manual for the human soul. We're camping out in the book of Proverbs, looking at a profound, penetrating breakdown of exactly how corruption takes root inside a person.
Here's the actual passage we're unpacking. It kicks off like this: "These 6 things doth the Lord hate, yea, 7 are an abomination unto him." Now, it's super easy to just skim this as a random collection of bad things. But trust me, its structure is deeply intentional, highly ordered, and it builds up to a truly shocking climax that's going to force us to completely rethink how we view our everyday behaviors. Section 1. The Numerical Mystery. Decoding 6, yea, 7.
Okay, so to really grasp this passage, we first have to figure out why the author used this very specific, kind of mysterious counting method instead of just giving us standard bullet points. Well, this ancient style is called a numerical saying. It's a classic Hebrew literary device designed specifically to grab your attention. It's essentially the ancient equivalent of saying, hey, here are 6 things. Wait, hold on, actually there's one more, and you really need to hear it. It's a rhetorical drumroll. It builds massive anticipation.
So how does this rhetorical drumroll actually work? First off, this exact structure helped ancient oral learners memorize the text easily. Second, the number 7 in Hebrew thought represents fullness or completeness. So the writer isn't saying God only hates these 7 specific things. Instead, it represents a complete, full-spectrum portrait of morally corrupt behavior. And most importantly, it acts as a climax, powerfully spotlighting that final 7th item as the absolute crowning point of the whole list.
Which brings us to Section 2. Anatomy of a corrupt soul. Evil working outward. What's really fascinating here is that this list isn't random at all. It literally traces the anatomy of a morally corrupt human being right from head to toe. It starts right at the top, with the eyes, specifically haughty eyes, or a proud look. We're talking about arrogance, self-exaltation. It's that spirit that says, I absolutely do not need God, and everyone else, well, they're beneath me. Scripture treats this kind of pride as the literal root of all rebellion, simply because it dethrones God and enthrones the self.
Moving down from the eyes, we hit the mouth with a lying tongue. Now, God is fundamentally a God of truth, right? So lying directly opposes his very nature. But beyond that, lies literally destroy reality itself. They corrupt trust, they weaponize language, and they totally fracture relationships. We aren't just talking about little white lies here. We are talking about deep deception and manipulation that tear right at the fabric of society.
Next, we look at the hands that shed innocent blood. This represents violence, cruelty, and the unjust oppression of the defenseless. And look, the word innocent here is absolutely crucial. This is all about exploiting the vulnerable, abusing power, and harming those who physically or socially cannot protect themselves. It's a complete violation of God's role as the defender of the helpless.
From the hands, the focus shifts deep inward to the heart. A heart devising wicked imaginations. Now, in ancient Hebrew thought, the heart isn't just the place where you feel things. It's the absolute center of your will and your intentions. So this isn't just about some fleeting temptation that crosses your mind. No, this is a person intentionally scheming, actively engineering, and deliberately cultivating corruption behind closed doors.
Now we're down to the feet. Feet swift in running to mischief. And this is a really fascinating turn. This isn't the person who accidentally stumbles into a bad situation or reluctantly falls into sin. No way. This person is enthusiastic about wrongdoing. They're pumped for it. They literally race toward destruction, and they take absolute delight in chaos and harm. It really goes to show that it's not just our actions that matter, but our actual disposition toward evil.
Returning back up to the mouth, we see the 6th item, a false witness speaking lies. Now, I know we already covered the lying tongue, but this is a very specific, highly destructive type of lie. In ancient Israel, bearing false witness could literally steal a person's justice, ruin an entire family's reputation forever, or even lead to an unjust execution. It's the total weaponization of words to destroy another human being.
So, the absolutely crucial takeaway here is this deepening progression. We are literally watching evil metastasize. It begins as this internal attitude of pride, moves to corrupt speech, erupts into violent action, sinks back into corrupt inward planning, and finally turns into an eager, joyful participation in chaos. We've just traced the complete anatomy of a fully corrupted person. And you know what? That sets the stage perfectly for the ultimate evil.
Section 3. The shocking climax, the seventh abomination.
Okay, the rhetorical drumroll is finally over. The text has said 6 things. Yeah, 7. We have officially reached that 7th item, the exact one the writer has been aggressively spotlighting this whole time as the ultimate abomination. So, think about it. After listing horrific things like violence, murder, and wicked, premeditated plots, what could possibly be the ultimate crowning climax of human corruption?
This is where this ancient text brilliantly subverts all of our expectations. We might totally expect the ultimate climax to be murder or idolatry or just extreme physical violence. But the actual climax? It's he that soweth discord among brethren. Yeah. The ultimate abomination is the deliberate destruction of unity among people.
Think of this person as a spiritual arsonist. To sow discord is to deliberately stir up conflict, inflame suspicion, and spread gossip. It's literally acting as an arsonist in your human relationships, taking the pride, the lies, and the manipulation we just talked about and using them to burn down families and communities from the inside out. A murderer destroys a physical body, sure, but a divisive spirit? That can destroy an entire community.
Section 4. Actions and Inward Hearts, the Diagnostic Profile.
Let's talk about why this ancient wisdom views this specific type of relational destruction with such intense, unyielding opposition. The text explicitly uses really strong language here, saying God hates these things and calls them an abomination. But it's vital we understand this hatred correctly. It is exactly the way a surgeon hates cancer. The surgeon doesn't hate the patient, right? The surgeon hates the disease precisely because it destroys the life they're trying to save. God's opposition isn't just some petty emotional irritation. It's a holy opposition to the evil that destroys the truth, justice, love, and the human flourishing he deeply cares about.
Section 5. Reversing the Curse, Unmasking Respectable Sins.
As we bring this explainer to a close, this ancient wisdom forces us right out of the realm of abstract theology and into a very uncomfortable reflection on our own modern lives. See, we all very easily condemn the blatant, massive evils out there, like violence and murder. But Proverbs does something totally radical here. It takes what we modern people often call respectable sins, things like gossiping at work, harboring pride, creating little divisions in our friend groups, or just bending the truth, and it places them in the exact same detestable, cancerous category as shedding innocent blood.
This really captures the ultimate goal of the entire passage. It's not just a negative list of things you're supposed to avoid. It is a profound, positive call to become the exact opposite kind of person. It means choosing humility instead of pride, truthfulness over lies, a purity of intent instead of scheming. And instead of being someone who constantly sows discord, becoming a fierce, absolutely dedicated peacemaker.
Which brings us right down to the daily application. We've got to look inward and honestly ask ourselves some pretty uncomfortable questions. Do I excuse my own small lies? Do I secretly kind of enjoy a little bit of drama and conflict? Do I delight in hearing bad things about other people, even if I'm not the one saying them? Do I run toward temptation, or do I sprint away from it?
I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought to take with you today. When you really look at the anatomy of your own heart, your daily habits, your text messages, and your interactions with the people around you, are you actively building your community, or are you secretly acting as its arsonist? Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer. Let that question sit with you and keep seeking wisdom.